Okay, One Piece chapter 1125. Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. That ending is ominous. Like Dragon, oh man, like One Piece is one of those series where I have moments where like I just shift. Like I'm a slut when it comes to who my favorite character is. It's like Dragon just had a line where I'm like, damn, kind of fuck with Dragon now. Like, I kind of fuck with Dragon now. Because, like, Dragon says, Vegapunk, not everybody who heard your warning and believes it is going to prepare peacefully. And it's just because Dragon, I think the reason why I like what he's saying is because he's so pragmatic. He's so pragmatic in how he came to that conclusion. Like when you put all the pieces together, he knows like if we don't end this quickly, it's gonna spiral. And it's one of those things. I think that he knows that the worst parts of humanity have a chance to show up. And I like where Oda's taking this. I like whether or not he has the balls to go through with it. Where you see the weapons used, where you see the sea levels begin to rise, and you see people turn. Whether or not Oda has the balls to go there remains to be seen. This could be like a Jujutsu Kaisen, not going into spoilers, but something big was teased and never happened. Whether or not Oda goes that route, that remains to be seen. I hope that Oda presses the button here, because I think I know where he's taking this. And this could set up for one hell of a conclusion. Oh my God. So backing up, because I got a lot I want to talk about here. So backing up, we open up where CP0 is coming out and Rob Lucci announces like, I killed Stussy. And I like how like Kaku, when you see Kaku, you don't see his eyes. I like that because of the moment that Kaku and Stussy had together. And I like how the other things you get as you shift over to Saturn, which, my God, Imu, we'll touch on that in a second. But Saturn is going over the situation. He's like, York and the Vegapunk records, the power plant. We can gather these things. We can create the we can get the mother flame that never goes out. Everything that happened is acceptable because we at least got some W's. And when the Vice Admirals like, well, but there were 9 of us there and we weren't able to fully carry out the Buster call. And because of that, the Straw Hat crew, Bonney, they're able to escape. And they're like, we can go after them at Elbaph. And Saturn's like, don't worry about that. And he slips up and he says that if there was any failure here to blame this on, it was on the colossal failure to envision Vegapunk's broadcast message. And not only did we fail to stop that message, there is a bitter irony that the pirates' escape was aided by none other than the Iron Giant. And that's where we get the flashback, where we see that Saturn was the one who did not destroy the Iron Giant. And it's because he thought like for research purposes, they'd be able to use it for the military, which I understand that. Like, I understand the idea, but I also understand the decision that was passed down to have it destroyed. And as we'll see, Saturn, maybe his name should have been Icarus because he flew too close to the sun and he got burned here. Because basically, as Saturn is putting those pieces together, and he's like, for 200 years, this thing didn't move, and then it did move to save Luffy. As he's thinking this, one of the Vice Admirals is like, look, like, I'm asking you this as a soldier, but if you're saying that Vegapunk's message is that important, and if you think that out of everything that happened was a success, but this one thing is a failure, does that mean that Vegapunk told the truth? And this reminds me of a situation that I had when I used to work at Target, right? So Vegapunk left that message, and we saw how people like Kobe and others responded to it. People that were in the Marines are going, okay, this is a problem. And yet, the Vice Admiral here is the one that has the balls to ask the question that should not be asked. And he pays for it. He gets taken out by Saturn at this moment. It reminds me of a situation I had when I used to work at Target when I was in college, right? Like I had a couple jobs in college before I got the internship. And one of the things that happened was I was at a really, really big store. It was one of the big super Targets. And the store was not doing well for the last few years. You know, this is during the fallout from the Great Recession that happened from 2008 up to like 2000. I think they officially said it was over in 2010, but like the sales weren't there. And it was like 2013, somewhere in that range. Graduated in 2015, so it was somewhere before that. But I remember we were gathered around and we had a new store manager and nobody had looked into him. So I looked into him and I saw that every place he had went to, he was the store manager who oversaw stores right before they shut down. And so when he has everybody in there and he's asking questions and he's like, well, what do you think? And nobody says anything. I stand up and I say, the hell with it, I'll ask. Exactly like that. The hell with it, I'll ask. And I'm like, is the store about to close down? Because you're kind of a grim reaper. You show up and then a store is shut down in a couple of years. Like, what's going on here? And I remember I caught hell for that. And in that same meeting, he asked, you know, what did we think problems were? And I said, okay, I'll say it. Like I said the quiet part out loud saying, this is what's going on. This is what's happening, etc. You know, some people did not like it. I put a lot of people on blast. I was not in a position to do it, but nobody else was speaking up. And I feel like that Vice Admiral basically took that same stance because he was not the only one that was thinking it. He was just the one that was brave enough to say it. But as the Japanese expression goes, the nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered in. And that's what happened. And I like how Saturn opens up this chapter where early on in the chapter, he takes out one of the admirals and then you see what happened to him. Now, the next thing that we get is that York finally realizes, wait a second, Edison, he's doing something. And she's like, I got to stop this because we can't have the Vegapunk records get out of here. And you know that for her, it's just her own selfish reasons because she wants to be a celestial dragon. That was part of her deal that she made with Saturn. And as that's going on, as Edison has made his move, we get a jump forward where we see the celestial dragons. And this hits, especially now with inflation being how it is. I like how the celestial dragons like this ain't what I asked for dinner. Where's the beef that I wanted? And when they're told they run out of beef, he just shoots the cook. And he's like, I can't believe that I got fish instead. And we learn more about the food shortage that's happening. You see the celestial dragon saying that this is a prisoner diet. And it just shows those who have privilege do not understand how privileged they are. That is a huge reflection of it. Like, to get personal now, like, because everything that's happened, like, I've not had a great 2025. I'm not alone there. But I also understand I'm in a privileged position. Like, I can't sit there and complain that, like, I'm having tuna and carrots and broccoli and everything, and like a good meal for me, like a treat, might be I might be able to go to the store and buy a bag of chicken tenders for myself and the people that are with me and stick those in the air fryer and make those. And the reason why I can't do that is, like, I have a cousin, she's my second cousin removed because she's my grandfather's cousin. She's 71. She's on food stamps. She's on Medicare and Social Security, and she's going through chemo. And that's what I mean when I say one person's struggle is somebody else's dream. And I would really love to see how Sanji would react if Sanji was the cook in that moment where he slaved over just making that fish meal. And then you have the celestial dragon being completely arrogant and ungrateful for the food that is there. And it's so ironic when one of them says that the lower classes, they have this lazy mentality. And it's like, say you're right, and they do have a lazy mentality. What does that say about you? Everything that you got was handed to you. Everything that you got was handed to you. But again, those who are privileged do not understand how privileged they are. And I like how the next thing that we see is that Garling shows up. And the others are going like, wait, what are you doing here? And Garling is like, hey, like, from now on, I'm going to be the godhead for science and defense. Vegapunk York, she's going to work for me now. And you see the other elders there putting the pieces together. And when he says, my fellow elders, that's when I'm like, oh, this man Saturn's cooked. And sure enough, Saturn drops down. He's grabbing his throat. There's some black smoke that is coming out. Everyone is freaking out at this point. And then that's where we see Imu. And Imu's completely pissed off. He's talking to him. And he's like, why'd you allow Joy Boy to escape? And Joy Boy is completely bolted. And if Luffy didn't have a big ass target on his back now, he's definitely got one now. But like the more interesting thing here is Imu was able to remotely kill Saturn and leave him as nothing more than a skeleton. What the fuck is Imu? That's the question that I have now. What the fuck is Imu? Like, obviously we knew Imu wasn't just like a regular person because he's like a black blob with an eyeball. Like, we know Imu is some kind of yokai, demon, something. But to be able to remotely kill, like, it makes me wonder the power that the elders have. Because this is more than just like devil fruits, etc. Like the power that the elders have, like it kind of makes you wonder, do they have something extra from Imu? Is that how Imu is able to remotely kill? If there's something I missed, let me know. I'm going to brave reading the comments on this one now. I try not to read the comments because I don't know if I'm going to get spoiled. So if like you're familiar with my other channels and you see that I respond to stuff from other channels, it's only because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Like I respond on the devil fruit videos and things like that. But like for the breakdowns, the blind reactions, I try not to read the comments just because, again, I don't want to be spoiled because thankfully I am unspoiled with One Piece. And I want to give you guys raw reactions as a brand new reader. So if I miss something with the elders, I'm going to brave reading in the comments, so please clear that up if I did. Now, the next thing I like is how you have the other Vegapunks. We learn they're alive. And again, I know that's probably something that might piss some people off. I like it. Because again, as long as we don't see old man Vegapunk back, I'm fine with it. Because again, death is just something, it's a different concept. And I like how they lay out their plan. And they're like York blocked us, but you know, our mental waves are going to reach through everywhere. York's still going to have access here, but we can move around the planet as we need to. Even though we won't have money to do the research, etc., we can at least depend on friends. They reach out to, what's the island? Weatheria. That's the place where Nami was. They reach out and they're trying to, looks like, get access and help from them. But basically their idea is like, you know, we're going to wait until the right time for humanity. So Vegapunk, again, the main Vegapunk might be dead, but there's still hope there. Oda's putting pieces together. This feels in-game. This feels like they're going to pop back up at some point. And I like how Oda then shifts over and you see the revolutionaries, and as they're talking, they put together some stuff that I didn't consider before this. Like, I feel like a dumbass now. They talk about how there was this massive war during the Void Century, and the ancient weapons during that war caused the world to sink 200 meters into the sea. And it's like, okay, we know that. And whoever gets the One Piece and becomes the king of the pirates will have that power to command once more, to use it for destruction or to fight back. But that's where Ivankov says something where I'm like, whoa, I didn't consider this. Ivankov is like, they sit on the biggest elevation of the red line. Sabo says that line, but Ivankov says those mega structures that they have and the slaves they've been using to construct it go back 700 years, which basically means that in the aftermath of the Void Century, they always knew this was a possibility. They've been building a high ground for this very moment. And that's where all the light bulbs go off. And that's what makes Dragon's speech at the end, where he's talking out to the ocean, obviously talking to the dead spirit of Vegapunk, the memory of Vegapunk. He says, the problem, Vegapunk, is that not everyone who believes your warning is going to prepare for the looming disaster peacefully. This demands a swift resolution because it won't be long before the people of the world begin to fight over safe ground. And basically, that goes back to what you had with the celestial dragons talking about famine, food shortages, looking down on the lower classes. There's going to be a fight for resources. There's going to be a fight for high ground. Places like Wano are going to be important. Those structures are going to be important. Skypiea is going to be important. I think I see where Oda's taking this. I want to see the unrest now. I genuinely want to see the unrest. Because I want to see how the people of One Piece react, and I want to see what leaders emerge. Because when you have chaos like that, just like in our own world, it's a moment leaders show up. You don't get to pick your leaders. Leaders just emerge. For better or for worse, they emerge. Oh, man, this is good. This is getting good. This is getting very, very good. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.